How are you? Today I'm going to talk to you about the relationship between egg consumption and your gut. Nowadays, it's becoming increasingly common for people to eat more eggs on a daily basis, even as an alternative to chicken, fish, or meat, which are animal proteins that have become more expensive these days. Everyone wants to save money, it's necessary to save, and many people have turned to eggs. And a lot of people want to know if eggs are bad for the gut. Because for many people, eggs increase the odor of gas and also increase the amount of gas. What's the connection here? Do eggs harm or help the gut? I'm going to tell you all about this right now. Stay with me until the end. You won't want to miss it. If you love tips on nutrition, health, and fitness, you're going to love this channel. Go ahead and subscribe. Remember to turn on the notification bell so you get notified. I have new videos every day. You're going to love it. Let's start talking more about eggs. If you like videos where I explain more about the role of eggs in the body, what happens when we eat more eggs, the relationship between eggs and cholesterol, and our health, leave your like so I know you enjoy this topic, and I'll bring more videos talking about the benefits, the precautions to take when consuming eggs daily, and some good tips as well, because that's very important. Tell me down here in the comments if you typically and regularly eat eggs on a daily basis, if you have eggs as a significant part of your main meals, perhaps as a healthy and nutritious substitute for other protein sources like chicken, beef, or fish, or if you primarily use them more extensively in various culinary recipes, such as in cakes or savory pies, essentially more as a versatile ingredient. Please do let me know down here in the comments section. Many people genuinely think that eggs can be quite bad for your gut because when they initially start eating more eggs, they often notice they have significantly more gas, and that gas unfortunately smells quite bad. Some people even jokingly remark that after they diligently started working out and consistently eating more eggs, absolutely no one can truly stand being next to them at the gym anymore. Because really, especially with the movement from physical activity, peristalsis is more stimulated and you actually feel more like passing gas, and some people do this right next to others. Please don't do that. But many people commonly associate eating eggs with a distinct and often unpleasant smell, as well as an increased amount of intestinal gas. What I can definitively tell you is that eggs, much like any other food rich in sulfur compounds, will indeed cause a noticeable change in the characteristic smell of your intestinal gas. So it's not that eggs increase the amount of gas. The gas you release was already in your intestines, because what actually increases the amount of gas or flatulence are the more fermentable carbohydrates, and eggs don't contain carbohydrates. It has almost no carbohydrates. We don't even consider eggs to have carbohydrates. So it's not that eggs contribute to the increased formation of gas, but they do change the smell of the gas. So, depending on the type of diet you have, if you eat a lot of sugar, if you consume a lot of honey, there are people who start working out, begin eating more eggs, albumin, and eat a lot of bananas, add oats, honey, make those shakes that are a carbohydrate bomb with eggs with albumin, or eat a boiled egg, scrambled eggs along with it. In this case, you will have an increase in gas production because of the amount of fermentable carbohydrates you've added, and the smell will become more prominent due to the sulfur in the eggs. But this smell from the gas is not related to a worsening of gut health. It has nothing to do with that, and it really doesn't harm your intestines. Quite the opposite. So, if that's something you're worried about, you can stop worrying. And if it's not a health concern, but it bothers you socially, you can improve this by spreading out your egg consumption throughout the day and not eating a very large amount at once, especially if you're already more sensitive. Remember that there are other sources of protein, including non-animal sources, which can even be more affordable, that we can add to our daily routine. I have a video here where I talk more about plant-based protein sources, alternatives to meat, and I'll leave it down below in the description for you as well. Regarding eggs and the growth of bacteria in our bodies, especially in our intestines, studies show that it's actually very beneficial to consume eggs, particularly if you replace red meat, for example, with eggs. That's because we know that red meat tends to make your body produce a compound that stimulates the growth of less beneficial bacteria, which can throw off the balance of your gut microbiota. And for some people who have a very unbalanced diet with a lot of sugar and fried foods, it can even lead to intestinal dysbiosis and worsen the growth of beneficial bacteria. I even have a video here on the channel where I talk more about this. Eggs, on the other hand, do not, because they contain choline, which helps reduce these compounds. So instead of increasing these compounds that harmful bacteria like, it actually helps decrease them. So, in fact, eggs protect the gut microbiota, promoting the growth of good bacteria. That's one more positive reason for us to add more eggs to our daily routine. Eggs can truly be a great addition to our diet because besides containing protein, One egg has on average between 6 and 7 grams of protein. It also has a very interesting protein profile. Its amino acid profile is very high quality, as it contains all the essential amino acids. And in fact, it contains methionine, which is an amino acid related to the detoxification of our body. It's a natural antioxidant and even helps protect the liver. So many people who are overweight, have fatty liver, hepatic steatosis, fat in the liver, a swollen or inflamed liver, can benefit from consuming eggs in a moderate amount, of course. Also remember that eggs, as I've already mentioned, are a source of choline, which is excellent for our brain, and a source of vitamin B12, in addition to several other vitamins and minerals. It really is a very healthy and complete food. Some people often want to know if there's a significant difference between consuming white eggs or those brown eggs. Some individuals frequently say that brown eggs are indeed stronger, possess more iron, and are generally more beneficial for one's health. In fact, they say that Queen Elizabeth, who passed away recently, only ate those eggs that are browner. Actually, there is no nutritional difference between these two types of eggs. This is related to a genetic trait in chickens and the deposition of pigments that occurs as the egg travels down the oviduct, which results in more pigmentation. But in terms of the amount of nutrients or protein, it doesn't change anything. So, if white eggs are cheaper in your city, you can buy them without any problem. There's no difference. Now, what can actually make a difference in the nutritional composition of the egg is the type of feed that was given to the chicken. In the case of eggs from chickens raised on an industrial scale, and I'm not talking about small producers, since even some small producers offer different types of feed, but if you can get eggs from free-range chickens, that will always be more interesting for you because you'll have more control over the product, and usually, it's a higher quality product. And besides that, if the feed the chicken eats is rich in omega-3, the egg ends up being a source of omega-3 as well, which is a very healthy fat, not only for our brain and intelligence, but it also reduces inflammation, including at the intestinal level, which is also beneficial for our health, our immune system, and for the proper functioning of the gut. And regarding eating raw eggs, it is definitely not recommended. Not only because of salmonellosis, since raw eggs can be contaminated with salmonella, a bacteria that can even put our lives at risk if we get infected with it, especially for people who have a weaker immune system. So always cook both the yolk and the white of the egg thoroughly. And remember, I've mentioned this in another video before, but I'm reminding you here, raw egg whites are less digestible, and in addition, they also reduce your absorption of biotin, a B-complex vitamin that is super important for us. So the availability of this protein when you consume it raw is worse than when it's cooked. So it makes much more sense besides being much tastier than that slimy texture that raw egg whites have. So avoid putting raw eggs in your shakes and start eating cooked eggs instead. If you want to have an egg or just the egg white after your workout, make sure it's cooked. Make some scrambled eggs or even just put them in the microwave. If you microwave them for 1 minute, it'll turn out like an omelet. 30 seconds depending on how many eggs you're making. Try 1 minute. Poke the egg with a fork to check if it's well cooked. It's an option that doesn't require adding any fat and can be a healthier alternative for you. I have easy egg recipes here on the channel for breakfast, snacks, lunch, and dinner. These are recipes where eggs are one of the main ingredients and they're tasty and practical options for everyday life. Even if you don't like eggs, you'll really enjoy these recipes because they're different ways to eat eggs. I'll leave them here in the description. Remember to check out the other videos I have here, like the one where I talk about what would happen if you ate only eggs as your source of protein. It's a really cool video. What happens when you eat eggs every day and whether eggs raise cholesterol or not. I'll leave the videos down below in the description for you. So tell me, do you usually eat eggs every day? How many eggs do you eat? I'd love to see your comment. Remember to like the video because that really helps me out. And share it with anyone who would enjoy it or needs it. Let's spread this chain of good together. That's what I want here on the channel. See you next time. Bye.